There's one more concept that you should be aware of whenever we are talking about quadratics, that is area enclosed by curves. You might come across a similar figure in which you will have a curve and couple of lines drawn, and you might be asked to determine the area of a shaded region or the points of intersection. I've seen that students sometimes get confused or they start panicking whenever they come across a similar figure. Please don't. You don't have to worry about anything. In order to find the area enclosed by curves, mostly, this is what I've seen, this is what I have experienced. We need to find the following three things only. You need to find out the points of intersection, x and y intercepts, and trust me, you will be done. Let's have a look at an example. The graph of y equals minus x square plus k. We know that it's a quadratic graph, so the equation of this graph is y equals minus x square plus k is shown in the xy plane above, where k is a constant. If the area, here you go, if the area of triangle PQR is 64, the area of this triangle is 64, what is the value of k? So in order to determine the area of triangle PQR, area of triangle PQR is basically what? Half into base into height. So we need the base and we need the height, and that's it, we will be done. Now, how can we calculate these? So let's have a look at the shape. So this is our triangle, this is the base. See, this is a really bad line. So PR, look at this, this is our base, PR. And what's the height? This red one is our height. The OQ is basically our height. So how can we find these? So you see, these are the three things that you might have to do. And it's not necessary that you have to do all the three things. We'll have to look into it. So how can we find points P and R? That's basically the x-intercept of this graph. You see, what is point R? What is point P? The x-intercept. And how do you calculate the x-intercept? You equate y to 0. So if y equals 0, the equation becomes minus x square plus k equals 0. Let's solve this. We get minus x square equals minus k, which is basically x square equals k, and x equals, we take the square root, we get plus minus square root of k. There you go. So r is basically positive square root of k and p is basically negative square root of k. It's completely fine. The next step is to find out the q. The value of q, what is the coordinate here? And this is basically the y-intercept. So you see, if I equate this equation, if I equate x equals 0, I will get the y-intercept. See, so first we calculated this and now we are calculating this. So if x equals 0, y basically becomes, this becomes 0, so y equals k. So this point is basically 0, k. There you go. We already have the height. So now we have everything. You see, if you know, the base is basically this. We have our base. Let's apply this formula. Half into base into height. So what is the base? This is positive square root of k. This is negative, but this is the length. So I'll just add these two and ignore the negative sign. So half into the base is square root of k plus square root of k, ignoring the negative sign, into height, that is this k. There you go, into k equals 64. We have our equation. You just have to solve this now and we will have the value of k. Let's do the math. We have half into 2 square root of k into k equals 64. This 2 will cancel out with this. We are left with square root of k into k equals 64. Now you see the bases are the same. So when bases are the same, what do? We add the powers. So we have k 1 over 2 plus 1, the value of this is 1, equals 64. I'll just write it here because I don't have space there. So 1 over 2 plus 1 is basically k raised to power 3 by 2 equals 64. Now I need the value of k and not the value of k raised to power 3 by 2. So I need to get rid of this power. What should I do? I'll multiply, I'll raise this equation to 2 raised to power 3. So I get rid of this. But I can't do it on the left side alone, so I'll have to do it on the right side as well. So raise this to 2/3 as well. So now we have, this will cancel out, and finally we have, let me change the color, k equals 64 whole raised to power 2/3. Now how can we solve this? There are multiple ways to do this. I can write this in base 4. Let's say if I convert into base 4, what do I get? I will get 4 raised to power 3, because 4 into 4 into 4 is 64. 4 raised to power 3 whole raised to power 2/3. There you go. This 3 will cancel out with this, and my answer is 4 squared, that is 16. So now what do we have? Yeah, we have the value of k, that is 16. There you go. Let's have a look at this question. The graphs of y equals x square and y equals minus x square plus 32 are shown in the xy plane above. What is the area of rectangle ABCD? So this U-shaped graph is y equals x square, and this N-shaped graph is y equals minus x square plus 32. And this is the rectangle we are talking about, ABCD. Okay, what's the area of rectangle? It is basically base into height, which in this scenario is, this is the base we are talking about, AD into what's the height, DC. You can write it in multiple ways. You can say the base is BC into CD, or you can say AD into AB. It's the same thing, because you know the lines are parallel, so it doesn't really matter. So how can we find these points? We need these points, because once we have these points, we will have the x coordinates, and once we have the x coordinates, we'll plug them back into any of these equations to find the y coordinates. And you see, these are the points of intersection. So all you have to do is equate these two equations and solve them simultaneously. Why do we equate them? Because at the points of intersection, the coordinates are the same. So let's do the math here. We have, x square equals minus x square plus 32. Let's do the math. 2x square equals 32. X square equals 16. X equals positive and negative 4. So it means the x coordinate of point D is 4, positive 4, and the x coordinate of this point A is negative 4. Let's plug these back into any of these equations to find the value of y. So y will be, you take any of these points, it doesn't really matter, because anything squared will give you a positive value. 4 squared equals 16. So what's the coordinate of point C? This is 4 comma 16, and the point B is basically minus 4 comma 16. So we have our base and height. What's the base? This is the base AD. AD is the base, which is 4 plus 4. Please be careful with the negative signs. The length is always positive. So you add these up. This is 4. This is also 4. So the length is basically 8 into what's the height? This is the height. This is the height, AB or CD or this one. So the y coordinate over here is 16. So the height is basically 16. We have already found this. So 4 plus 4 into 16 is our answer. 8 into 16, what's the value? I don't have a calculator. I'll subtract 32 from 160. I will get 128. I hope this is the correct answer. Next question. The graphs of y equals 1 over 8x into x minus 2 and y equals half x are shown in the xy plane above. What is the area of right triangle OPQ? OPQ. This is O, this is P, this is Q. This is our triangle. Okay, so what's the area of any triangle? It is half into base into height, which in this scenario is half into OQ into PQ. These are the lengths we need. So how can we find point P and Q? Point P is definitely the point of intersection. So if I have this point, I'll have Q as well, because that is the x coordinate of point Q. Let me equate both the equations and then take it from there. Okay, so we have half x equals 1 over 8x into x minus 2. I have equated both the equations because that will give me point P and point O, which is already 0, comma 0. I can see this is the origin, but I'll get this point, which is point P. So to get rid of the fractions, let's multiply the entire equation by 8. Let's see what do we get. We have 4x here equals x into x minus 2. Let's open this up. Let's solve the quadratic equation. We have x square minus 2x minus 4x equals 0. X square, yeah. So we have x square minus 6x equals 0. We will take x common. We have x minus 6 equals 0. Let's equate both the factors to 0. X equals 0 and x equals 6. We have our x-intercepts. So this is 0 and q is basically 6, comma 0. We have this point. Let's plug this x coordinate into this equation to find out the value of y. So y should be, if I plug x6 into this equation, I'll have half into 6. This is basically 3. So point P is 6, comma 3. There you go. Now we have our base, we have our height. So let's calculate the area. Area is half into base into height. Half into, this is our base, this is our base, which is 6, and the height is basically this, which is 3. So half into 6 into 3 will give us 3 into 3 is 9. This is our answer, which is option choice C.